and they stayed at our house, and they wouldn't shower at our house.
Yeah. It even changes how you cook, because something that
Oh, yeah.
might be nice and cheap, like spaghetti,
You don't want to boil it.
you don't want to boil
Nope.
it. So now you're using bottled water. How cheap
Bottled
is that
water.
meal anymore?
Yep.
You know,
Too right.
and you start thinking to yourself, okay, I'd really like mashed potatoes for this holiday, but you know what? That's a lot of water, so I guess we'll have to find something else to eat. That's ridiculous, because you get sick of lugging that water. You know, I have a whole corner in my kitchen. It's just bottles of water.
And I can understand having those concerns over water usage if you lived outside of Phoenix.
Or if you knew it when you bought the house. I mean, there are areas
Yeah, right.
around here that you know when you buy your house that water is bad, and that's part of the price,
And that you
that's
might
part
run
of
out
what you're
sometimes.
expecting. But when you buy a place that is perfect water, and
Yep.
now this happened, that's just wrong. And
Yep.
for a long time, Schreiner was giving all of us bottled water, even me, even though DEP said there was nothing wrong, he was giving us bottled water.
Enough?
Yes, as much as we wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a local company here, and they
Take
called
care
me
of it,
basically and said, how many big, whatever those big jugs are, how
Right.
many do you want?
Oh, it wasn't even in little bottles?
No, it was
No,
a big
they-
cooler
that's
thing,
good.
and I
Cooler,
said,
yeah.
I don't know, how about
Oh.
4 or 5 a month? And they did. They'd bring them here, they take, you know. Well, then we had a meeting. That was that first time that we took them to court with the township, isn't it? Over zoning. I think it was
Yeah.
that very first township thing we had.
Yes. And they had just
that next
taken
day,
it.
they pulled all of our water.
Yep.
Took it all back.
You came and got it?
Yeah.
Like the stuff that was already at your house?
Took it. Took it. All of it. And never, yeah, you're done. Cut off.
Because you're fighting us.
Because
And you're
we're
not
fighting
doing
it.
what...
And he
Basically,
even-
because you're not doing what we want you to do.
That's right. And the
You're not
one
being-
neighbor, he
lay
even
down.
told
You're
Passive.
not laying down, so
remember the neighbor up the street, he even told him, you know, we'll help you, but if you go to the media, we will do everything possible to make your life miserable. We're not going to help you at all. We're going to drag our feet. And at first the guy was like, oh, okay, you know, because you want help. You have children. You,
And that's
I mean,
part of
you
the,
want help.
What you were talking about earlier.
Intimidation.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know, and a lot of times it works because somebody believes that maybe you really will help them and they're desperate. You know, to me, that just infuriates me. I said to the neighbor, I said, that sounds like bullying to me. You should have told that guy to kiss off.
Mhm.
You know, but what's he going to do? I mean, I think I would feel differently if I had children. I think the fact that it's just my husband and I, maybe I don't see things the same way. I think if I had children,
Well,
I think
think
I
of
would
your-
be homicidal.
Yeah, I mean, think of that, as bad as it makes you feel and how nervous you are driving up to the house. And
mm-hmm.
Yep.
so, I mean, that's going to obviously be elevated. Everything you're
Yep.
Yeah.
dealing with now is going to be elevated when you throw kids in the mix.
Yep.
Yep. And our son's 13 now, so my wife and I will both work evenings, so he's here until my wife gets home at 8 at night. And we've got these alarms going off from the gas. And
How many different alarms do you have?
we've got one downstairs and one upstairs.
And they're
It's a
tests
combination carbon monoxide explosive gas meter.
So basically natural gas and
Right.
CO. And it'll go off, you said the CO part side will,
It always reads gas.
it's always gas.
We had issues back when they first started this compressor station with CO, and like Steve was saying, they never got the proper permits or any of this. Well, they were found to be in violation with that because they had to have some type of, I don't know,
Scrubber.
catalytic converter or something they
Mhm.
had to put on.
So I think I'm looking around and I've driven up and down the mountain a couple of times. I'm thinking part of the problem here, especially with the carbon monoxide at the very beginning. Like I said before, I'm no scientist, but you've got all these little valleys and pockets.
Right.
And I mentioned inversion earlier. I mean, things, gases will collect. If there's something cooler air above it, won't let things rise, it'll collect. And that's, I think, at least with the gas.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now, the stuff in your water,
Oh yeah.
who knows what's going on down there.
Right. Yep. And anyhow, back to our son, we had a situation here a month ago where we were both at work and these alarms went off. And luckily, we've got the neighbors we do, and we've always talked and said, well, do this and do that. And he come over here and went over while we weren't home to check out,
So
investigate.
what's his plan of evacuation? You have him unplug everything, or
No, we just tell him just
Get
just
out.
get out?
Get
Because
out.
I guess
either you come over and get Steve, or you go next door and get
you go unplug
our
his
other
stuff and
neighbor
get that
or
spark.
anywhere, but just get out.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He told him, stay over here if you'd like for the rest of the night.
Open the windows.
But
Well,
and-
you know, so here has this going on, and DEP actually says when your alarms go off now, don't call us anymore.
right.
Like, what?
They've actually never come. They've actually never even investigated.
Yeah.
The
don't
only
call
thing
us
they've
anymore.
done as far as investigation on the air quality issue is to come up and look at stuff. That's it. Any other type of metering or any kind of
They're not
investigation?
testing any creek water at all, are they?
Mhm.
No.
And they were supposed to bring an air quality meter.
Yes, they
we
told us
we
way
had a
back.
meeting with actually the regional director, I think is his
I
name,
think it was.
Kelly Birch from out of Erie, with the DP. And he said, you know, there are these monitoring devices, we can put them along their perimeter. Great, thank you, because that will give some validity to everything we're telling you.
Yep.
And it never happened. And then
Never
all of a
done.
sudden, there's no such thing. Well, of course there's such a thing. You know, I'm not an idiot. I used to work in a forensics lab. Of course there's such a thing. Nope, no such thing. Can't do it. Okay. You
And
know.
we actually had, I mean, as far as in our house, these alarms could have been set off by the vapors or VOCs coming out of the water and the combination of this plant running, which we actually had the DEP come in before, and we had a lot of alarms in our laundry area when my wife would run the washing machine.
Every time she'd run the washing machine, it would.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
So anyhow, these alarms going off in the laundry area, so we had the DEP come in and they brought their little device in and they stuck their thing in the washing machine and they actually got a, I don't know, few tenths of a % of reading of methane in there coming out of the water.
While it was full of water, they put it.
Well, it was filling up.
Yeah.
Well, it's filling up. So
And then you.
and it only gets
It's
worse.
agitated.
It only gets worse
Right.
as it agitates.
Exactly. And you put a lid on it, and then your laundry room's not the biggest room in the house.
Right.
Right.
That's good.
But it does go, you know, it'll come through the home.
Yep.
And I've done my own little test where I'll take this alarm and I put it in the bathroom on the opposite side of the shower and turn the shower on and get the alarm to go off. But lots of issues that they've never explained.
Or they explain, like, what about the whole 219? Remember that story?
Oh yeah, these alarms are combinations, so when it does alarm, it'll flash whether it's reading gas or whether it's CO. And most of the time now it's gas. So, and then it a lot of times will flash just a number afterwards, which a lot of the times isn't referring to any reading it's getting. But so one time my wife told him what the number was, the DEP, and it was 219 or 217, I don't exactly remember. But so they took this and they've got the pamphlet on these detectors themselves. They actually, well, they supposedly called the manufacturer, I mean, got all kinds of information and whatever not, and their explanation to that certain alarm at that time was a low battery in a detector. A low battery. These detectors plug into your outlet. They've got a battery backup.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just ridiculous.
And LB is low battery.
Yeah,
Not
oh yeah, and that's
219.
another thing is that when it's got a low battery, it says right in the pamphlet, it'll read,
Mm-hmm.
it'll flash low battery.
Now you can't tell me that those people didn't know this.
Yeah.
When they're going to look you right in the eye and say, "Oh, don't worry, that just means low battery."
But
It's
another
criminal.
another kick that we've got is we've complained so much about these air quality alarms and all this going off. When this all started, the drilling companies actually the one that bought these detectors because we complained about it so much. And now that it's so many complaints, still, wow, those are just cheap detectors. They're unreliable. You call the manufacturer and they're telling you they're the best detectors they make.
Not only that, but Steve had had a detector before
Right.
those that never
Right.
went off.
Never.
Now it does. So
Yep.
it's not like it's just
No.
those detectors.
The air quality is just an issue that they absolutely have done nothing about.
Mm-mm.
And they actually, we had a meeting a few weeks ago here with them, and they did. The DEP come right out and told us, as far as this air quality stuff, don't even call us. Don't call us again.
That's a shame.
It is.
Yes, it is.
So, anything else, anyone? All right. Well, this is the end of the interview.